Ready?
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Miller Lite with the voices of the Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
Welcome into episode 71 of the Bears Etc. podcast. Jeff Joniak here with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer and our special guest this week, the one and only Zach Miller, with us from Nebraska as we talk life after football, his career, and what he's learned maybe about the 2024 Chicago Bears. A lot to discuss. We're brought to you by Miller Lite. Of course, right? Miller Lite. Tommy, I love this guy. Saw him at the Bears Care Gala. Got to say hello to him and his beautiful wife, and always enjoy those conversations. You had a big grin on your face, mixing it up with some of your old friends from the team, and certainly a lot of people in the organization. It was good to see you.
Yeah, it was great, man. It was just good to be back, and that's always a special event. Get to see some familiar faces and be part of a cool evening. So it was great to see you guys there as well.
Zach, do you miss football?
Oh, man, every day.
Do you?
Yeah.
You've had such a unique career of ups and downs and successes and stuff, and I didn't know if you walked away from it wanting more or because you have such a new lease on life that, you know, you're an anomaly.
I kind of go back and forth on that, obviously, because I love the game so much, and I still do. But I was fairly realistic with myself of like, we know we can't play that game forever, so it's going to end at some point. You just don't ever want it to end not on your own terms. But I came to peace with that, man. I knew it was one of those things that you just got to accept, kind of know what you sign up for when you get into it, and to be able to even have the opportunity to do that for as many years as I did. I was blessed to just have that chance. So I don't miss the grind. I don't miss the day-to-day pain.
What did you weigh your last weigh-in? What do you weigh today?
Oh, man, last weigh-in, I'd say I was probably right around 240, 238, but like a good 238. And I weighed myself 2 days ago. I was 245.
You're hanging tough.
I'm hanging tough. So, hey,
he's ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I got a couple plays, that's all. You know, Tom, we always keep a couple in the bank. We always got a couple plays left. I don't got many, but a little bit.
Yeah, I'm always asking Tom if he can get in a stance for one snap, cut block somebody, and then fade into the sunset. You could do one snap.
Do that against the young boys out in the backyard. I do that. I beat up on them for a couple minutes, and then I just go back and watch.
Playing pretend tackle football.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we'll get into some of what you did, but we really want to get into what you're doing now. You are the music man. You are the music man, recording artist, singer, songwriter, the former Bears tight end hitting the stage. And I've watched your videos. I've seen you stand before an audience, not live. I want to see that one day, but I've always felt my entire life, because I'm a big music guy. I've gone to plenty of concerts. I love Pearl Jam, love Dave Matthews. My daughter Kelly, my oldest, is infatuated with Dave Matthews, and will try to see as many Dave concerts as possible. And I always am amazed that if you get up there and you can get 30,000 people, 200 people up and dancing and feeling good for 2 hours, that's the most powerful thing you can do in life. It's just letting your worries go by the wayside and just enjoy an evening or an afternoon at whatever venue you choose. Going to see James Taylor on Saturday night at Ravinia. Love James Taylor. I love a wide variety of music. How powerful is that to stand there on stage and perform?
It really is. It's one of those things where everything else just kind of disappears, and you can just be in that moment and be in the music for a long time. And all your worries go away, and you're just there. And I'm kind of like you. I listen to a wide variety of music. I go to a ton of different concerts, and it's always been that connection between music and sports with me. Those worlds kind of collide, and I never imagined doing it, we've had that conversation before
Yeah.
where I never thought this would even be a thing. I always loved music. I loved playing it, but it was more of a hobby. And then, the story of just the way that things ended. Music was more of a therapy for me at that point. Then I just fell in love with it. So it's one of those things that really just kind of came along very naturally, and something that even to this day, like, I just really love the fact that I found something that replaced football as close as it could, right? Because that was such a huge part of my life. And when that goes away for some guys, we miss the game so much. But the passion that I have for just writing and creating songs is so heavy. I love it.
Was the flashpoint the writing part because you dabbled? I think you picked up the piano. You always had a guitar, but was the writing the therapy?
Yes. Yeah, that was a part where it's like you could just go to these places that you had been or that you can create in your mind. And especially, early after my injury, I was laid up for so long, I didn't want to be there. So I just started writing songs about, some of these past memories that I had been through and other places that I wanted to go. And it just became one of those places where I felt really passionate in that moment, just being there, writing words down and putting them together. So it's been a blessing for me to transition that way out of football.
Zach, can you explain the difference in the courage of a primary receiver on 3rd and 4 when you got to make the catch, or the courage to stand in front of a group of people and create a video?
Yeah.
Just so different. And I thought that those worlds were somewhat similar, and they are in ways, but to explain that, like, the physical part of football is what you got to get over, right? Like, I know someone's going to come and try and knock my block off on that 3rd down across the middle or whatever. And I'm used to doing that. I'm not used to the emotional connection that you have to get with people, and the fact that some people may not like this. Okay. So I was used to the part of football where you go and you have opposing fans and they're telling you stink and all that stuff. That's fine. I was used to that. And I had so much confidence in the game of football that didn't matter. Music was a whole different thing. Like, you had to become vulnerable and throw these ideas out there. And then you're like, damn, if they don't like this, that's deflating. And there became a point where it registered with me that, okay, I played ball for one football team. The rest of the 31 other teams despise you, So I took that approach to making music is I'm going to make music that I love. And if I put it out and those people like it, they're on my team. And if not, no big deal. It's just they're on the opposing team. That's how it is. So very two different things. Going on stage, like, if I can connect with one person up there, I'm good. Like, that's all it is for me, really. Like, just telling a story and somebody connects with that. I think you're doing the right thing being up there.
So the memorization of terminology in football is you have to get to the point where you cannot think, you have to know. In the memorization of the lyrics, is there anything that's helped you from one to the other, or are they completely two different types of interests?
No, I'd say that they correlate very well, and that preparation in football has helped me a ton in music. Not only with the memorization and just the process of learning things, but like the discipline of doing stuff and really approaching it that way of like, okay, this is not just a hobby, go and wake up and sing and do that. But how our schedules were structured. We had a very structured life with meetings and warm-ups and doing all these things. So it's helped me to wake up every morning and do a vocal warm-up. Whether it's a 10, 15-minute thing or you're going into a 30-minute session to actually like work your vocal cords out, because it's a muscle. And I didn't know any of these things going into it. And I've done work to try and get better, just like I would approaching the game of football. And I still have a long ways to go, boys. Long ways.
Well, any career worth diving into, or for your lifestyle, or your income, your family support, or just for fun, everybody feels they got a long way to go, I think, so I think people walk with you on that one. You mentioned the vocal cords, and I'm obsessed with mine, and the care that must be taken during what's the cold and flu season while you're trying to call a game. You can't, you only have preseason included, and not including playoffs. You get 20 days out of 365 where you got to be number one. And I've always said that's as big a challenge as anything, because your life may not be right. Things may be going on personally. Your head maybe you didn't feel great about the week that was to get ready for the game, and then if you wake up feeling crappy, you gotta plow through it. But that voice, that's my tool, right?
It's a different thing that you never really, for me, obviously I didn't know that you had to protect it. You had to, prep, you had to prepare it and get it warmed up and do all these things and get it stronger. So it's been a good thing for me to have, because it's a challenge, and I think most of us like that. We want to be presented with the challenge and be able to see some growth and see, if you're getting better at things. And that's kind of how it was, why sports are so special and why football is so special for me. So this kind of transition to music has been replaced in that way.
I listened to your podcast with Jay Cutler several years ago. I just pulled it up yesterday just to hear some of it, and he kind of was giving you a hard time about working the vocal cords, right? Like it's exercise. So what are you doing exactly? And he was having fun with it, and only the way he can. You guys are good friends. But did you seek the advice of a vocal coach, and have you expanded your range, your depth and resonance, and what is it that you're doing on a daily basis to get get those pipes ready?
Seek the advice of a vocal coach. I have a couple that I regularly meet with, and it's normally via Zoom, something like this, and it's just going over different exercises, things that you do to strengthen your vocal cords that I obviously don't know about, and that's their lane, and they teach you how to use your breath and how to strengthen those cords through different exercises and get your range going. And like I can go from a warm up, and then as we go, like I'll probably get a couple more notes at the top end by the end of the session. So there's stuff that you can see and you can tell that you're getting better within those days of doing it. And as you gradually increase, it's like one step at a time. And so my voice has definitely gotten stronger. There's a place where I live where I'm comfortable at, and pushing that is something that I'm starting to do more of. And it was just early on, I felt I needed to stay in this spot where I can be comfortable and not push things. And now as I'm getting a little bit better with it, starting to challenge myself vocally and try and improve some stuff.
Zach, we played a sport that we can carry a tablet around and we can plug it in at any time and look back at practice or game film and do a self-evaluation. Now, do you find yourself carrying around a notepad or something where if a lyric pops into your head, you go, I like the sound of that, or I can take this to another sentence? Is that part of your life now?
Yes, almost too much, probably. where and it's one of those things where I want to be present in my life. We all do. With technology these days, we know that we can be distracted at any moment, and we always got one of these around, right?
Right.
Sometimes I feel like phones have ruined everything we have around here.
Yeah.
But I have a note in there, and it's a rolling note of whether it's song ideas or one-liners that I hear, and I say, I kind of like that, and I'll put it in. And it's one of those things that it's around, but I'm conscious of not always just being turned on. Right when I started, everything revolved around trying to capture these ideas, and everywhere I went was looking for inspiration in that sense. And so now I've kind of learned to balance it out. But yes, there's a rolling note on there. It's a long one.
Hank Williams Jr. put Dan Hampton and Walter Payton in one of his videos. And, as you sit here and look at me and Jeff, feel free to incorporate us in a video and just a cameo, walk through a little Zach support. If you ever need that, we're here for you.
I can see that coming very soon.
I love that thought, Tom. You, of all people, on stage. That wouldn't be something I think you would enjoy.
No. So
that would be
Hank
cool.
Williams did a video. He flew Hampton and Walter Payton down the day they were doing the video, and it was more of a backyard atmosphere. He put him in the video, and then they flew back the next morning to practice. So after watching all the people that took part in the latest video that I watched with Zach, I figured, hey, man, Jeff and I can sport a white T-shirt, and,
Guys fit right in, I think.
Put on some boots, and hey, I love country music also. I mean, it's something that I listen to more often than not. If I got Sirius XM, the highway on, and I'm pumping it out. I enjoy it quite a bit. We're brought to you by Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. So, we'd have to get in the back of the line, though, because the star of the video, besides your own self, is your beautiful wife. And watching the videos and seeing her dance with you and be present in those videos, that's pretty cool. I'm assuming a lot of these stories that you've written about in your song are about her, right, Kristen?
Yep, they are. I mean, she's the muse for all of it, We've been together for so long, and that's where probably 99% of the inspiration comes from, is just the life that we've lived. And I would say all of those lyrics are true. That's my life that we've lived, and it's just been able to capture and put it out there, which is a weird thing because, you're singing about, intimate personal moments and things like that. And it's just how it came out. And like, you got to let your guard down to create it. But when we did that video, that's all my friends and family that are in that whole thing. So we went back home.
Wow.
Got my dad's old 67 Chevelle, and we kind of went and rolled around the back roads of Weston, Nebraska, and kind of created that thing. And I had my buddies, I called them, I said, hey, we need a big bonfire. We need all the friends out there with trucks, and we're just going to have a party. And it kind of came together just very, very naturally, because that's an element that we're used to doing.
Yeah. Is that how you guys rolled back in the day?
Yeah. I mean, it very much was like that. Maybe the fire wasn't as big because we didn't want people to know where we were at that point. But this one, we needed to turn the fire up. So maybe a little bit out of hand after the party was over, but we had a good time filming it. And it's just one of those things you look back on, and it's a cool thing to have. I don't have a music video for every song. It's one of those, I don't want to say it's not a dying thing, with the art world or whatever, but MTV is not what it was, back in the day, to have music videos and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where I kind of pick and choose. And as hopefully if things progress, you can get a music video out for almost every single you're doing. But it was a fun day for us.
Hey, Zach, what's a football Sunday like for you now? Is it a Zach watching Red Zone, or is it Zach watching the Bears, or is it you wherever you are in the world watching whatever game's offered to you? I'm
always tuned in to the Bears, man. We know that. And it's, commercial break, Red Zone. So I'm in on the Bears. I'm watching us as often as I can. And as soon as I hit a commercial, I got to go hit that Red Zone and see what the rest of the league is doing. That's such a cool feature that they have, because offensive guys, man, I just want to see points put up. So anytime we get in there, I want to see all of them happen.
That's the interesting thing about it, because you think of what the Bears have and the power they have at wide receivers, the ability they have at running back, the two tight ends searching for a third. It's going to be interesting to see the type of firepower that the Bears are able to put on display with the development of a rookie quarterback, but they have star power at behind the line of scrimmage, the tight end level, and the wide receiver level. So it's got to be fun for you to be able to watch that development.
Yeah, and I think, all those things you just said, like, they've just done a great job getting veteran playmakers, and we got some veteran stars, and then merging that with young talent that is going to be able to fill in. Now, the problem is there's only one football to go around. We got all these dudes to give it to. But I think with DJ and Keenan and, adding Rome to that, we have a three-headed monster at wide receiver. Tight ends are solid as they can make them. I think Gerald's going to help a lot with Cole and take a little bit off his plate, and they can do that thing together. because obviously I think Cole's probably one of the best well-rounded tight ends in the league. Adding DeAndre in the backfield, I think, is kind of I don't want to say the key to all of it, but helps so much because now we can move him around. He's the piece of the puzzle that you can kind of put wherever. You can have him on first and second down, and then third down, you can move him around. You can do a bunch out of the backfield. Now it just comes down to 18. It's one of those things where he's got the talent and how skilled he is at the position and how long is the learning curve. And that is what we'll wait for. And I don't think it's going to be as long as it has been in the past. But I think there will be one. And then you just kind of let him do his thing. But I think the most exciting thing for us as fans is you have so many weapons and probably one of the best offenses being rolled out in recent years that we've seen in Chicago. So I can't wait.
I was just going to say, Jeff and I were talking a little bit earlier, Zach, and you think when the Bears get ready to go to training camp, they have almost every position decided upon aside from the competition at center. Yeah. And you can't think of how many times that's happened in the history of the Bears to be that settled on this group of quality players this early in the offseason.
And it's got to be, put your mind at ease a little bit, knowing that you have all these players, you have your unit of what you're going to do, right? And then maybe somebody pops in at the back end of some competition stuff to solidify everything else, but you're really going into the season knowing what you have. You're not trying to fill any holes, and now it's just fine-tuning this stuff. So when we hit week 1, we're already ready to go, and I'm not trying to find another 2 guys that I need to plug in by week 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then middle of the season, now we feel like, okay, maybe we got a core. We already have that. Now it's like, let's get ready to go. So when we come out of the gate week 1, we're already rolling. And it's just a good time to be a Chicago Bear.
Bears, etc., brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears. And when it's time to tackle some game day deals, then go with the grocer who's been a part of Chicago since 1899, Jewel Osco, the official grocery store of the Chicago Bears. Zach Miller, kind enough to join us from his Nebraska home where all his Bears memorabilia in the background. See, this is an audio only. It's not a visual presentation on the Bears, etc. podcast, so we can define it, but you got the navy blue and orange and all those painted up footballs, I believe, for touchdowns you caught in your NFL career, and you caught 11 of them with the Bears during that 3-year stretch when you caught over 100 passes. Things were going well, and I tell you, the first time I ever saw you in the locker room, unfortunately, you're coming off an injury. You're in that cart with the leg up, right? But you had a smile on your face, and I never forgot that because you just loved being here. You loved being in the locker room. You love in life, and you always have a smile on your face. I don't know how you've done it, and certainly through near tragic circumstances. We'll get into that in a second. But you always felt like that's a guy who just loves football, loves being with the fellas.
Yeah. And my dad, ever since I was young, my dad, and he still says it to this day, he's like, Zach, we're only here for fun. He literally, that's his life motto. And I think it's just stuck with me, man. Like, this ain't particularly a long thing for all of us here. And I think it's just it's important to feel good and be happy where you're at, regardless of circumstance. You talk about that first time that you and I met and I'm in the locker room rolling on a scooter. I just broke my foot in half. Yeah. Right? What good does it do for me to be pissed off and mope around and do whatever? Like, that happened, and now you figure out how to get through that time and everything will be fine. And that's kind of just how I approach things. But I do miss that part, Jeff. You talked about, being in the locker room and just being happy where I'm at. Like, those are special things to be a part of that crew and be in that lifestyle and be a part of the NFL for so long. And I just love it. I love being there. I love being around the guys, the staff, everybody in the building, everywhere that I went. I just really appreciated my time there. And that's why you always saw me with a smile.
Yeah. At the same time, how did you do it? Because, there's many players that constantly have something to overcome, and you seemingly did. You weren't lucky. So how did you not turn that in a negative way at times, or did you have How was your mental health?
I had my bad days. I mean, there was days where I'm like, man, this sucks. Why can't I stay healthy? Why is this happening again? And it's just how it is. There's no answer for that. We play a rough game. The year I broke my foot in half in 2014, I was in the best shape of my life. I've never, ever been that strong or explosive or fast. And there was nothing I could do to prevent that injury. Like, I just planted my foot and was so explosive through that movement that my foot couldn't handle it. And that's just what happened. I don't know how, like, I had bad days in between there, but they were not as, I didn't let them roll in and take over all the good days. Like, you got to take them and go and move on. And it's just one of those things where you get through the dark moment, and then when everything gets good again, appreciate it and hope it lasts long. And I think that's just how I look at life and approach almost everything in life, is just let's enjoy it for what it is. And, you know, if it goes bad for a minute, that's just how it's going to be.
You know, Zach, people always used to ask me, if football didn't work out with you, what was your other option? And I tell them I didn't have another option. Yeah. It was going to be football. So when you look at football's over and music is your new life, was there anything else that was capturing your attention, or were you spearheaded on music is it?
Nothing existed except for football.
Right.
You know,
as I.
And I'm with you. Like, if you go into that, you know, people say, oh, do you have, you know, everything's on plan A, what's your plan B? And some would say, like, if you have a plan B, you're not all in on plan A. And I approached football like you did. And I think most people, and that's a risky thing, I think. Most people say, oh, it's not smart to have a plan B. Well, I think there's people that have enough gusto and enough confidence to put everything they have in the thing that they love, whatever it may be, whether it's broadcasting or football or music or whatever it is that you love. All my attention is going to go there. And if that doesn't work out, God forbid, then I'll figure it out on the back end. But if I have my attention on something else, I'm not really involved. I'm not really fully invested in the thing that I say that I love. Now, when football ended for me, because we know that it all does, I didn't know that music would ever be that, you know. It quickly became life's passion for me. I still love sports. I still coach all the boys in their stuff, football, flag football, basketball. Like, I feel like I've spent more time watching 6th grade tackle football than I ever watched NFL tape. It's still a very big thing ingrained in my life, talking about sports, but all my passion lies with music now.
How many songs do you work on at once? Do you have a couple in the hopper right now, or you have one that holds your attention and you try to work that from start to finish?
It's kind of, I was all over the place in the last, I'd say, year. And then probably within the last 2 to 3 months, I've kind of figured out a different approach to, okay, let's get this song done, put all our attention on it, get it done, and then move on to the next one. Put our attention on that and move on to the next one. So I've just kind of found this new process that I really like, and it's all trial and error. But I got a new producer that I've been working with out of London, which is a really cool thing, because much like we're doing right now in different states, like, he's halfway across the world and we're making music together, and we got a lot in the hopper at the moment. So a lot of music coming out.
Good.
You know, the back half of this year and early in the next year.
Vizzy Hard Seltzer, flavors for every vibe. Celebrate responsibly. Molson Coors Beverage Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Zach, how hard is it to write a song?
Some days are harder than others. There's days where you go out, write a song in an hour or two, and it just rolls out, and you're like, dang, that was easy. And then there's days where it just drags on. You can't catch a break, running the wrong routes, doing all the things wrong, and then you know how it is when you start pressing.
Brain locks up.
Break. Yeah. So it's just one of those days. Sometimes they come out and the idea is great and they flow, and then other days you got to put a little bit more work into it. Maybe take a day off. or maybe the idea is just not that great and you got to move on. We all had. I correlate everything to my football life, and I got a great friend named Dermot Kennedy who is a mega superstar musician, and he told me, he's like, listen, he's an avid sports fan too. He's like, you never had, like, every day wasn't perfect. Like, there's days you go to practice and you had a pretty crappy practice. He's like, that happens in the studio too. You're gonna have a bad day, you let it go and you move on. And it's been a blessing to know that, because there's been days I've been in the studio just beating myself up. Why can't I get this done? Why can't I get it done? And instead now of just suffering through that process, you scrap it and move on.
So first single, May of 21, is that right? How You Like Us Now?
That I put out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How You Like Us Now, is that an ode to small town USA and people doubting you? And
yes,
on a couple fronts, football and music. I mean, Did people actually try to talk you out of music? Like, or did you hear it in your, you're not going to make it? Nashville? You kidding me? Come on.
I never, that song is particularly all about football. It wasn't much, because I hadn't played any music at that point. I don't think anybody knew my intentions of playing music. So that really was that small town football thing. And I'll tell you what, man, you have your crew, and they believe in you probably more than anybody, probably more than yourself at times, and those are your people. And then everybody else around is like, oh, no, he's probably not going to do that. Oh, they're talking about him getting drafted. No way, he's not going to be drafted. Division II school, not going to happen.
Division II quarterback,
right? And
not a tight end.
No, yeah, I've never even played that position before. Like, what the hell am I doing? And you hear all of that, and it's people that are like in your semicircle, right? You have your people, and then there's people around that. That's just the nature of humans, man. Like, people are gonna hate on you, and that really was. I wrote that after I got hurt. Like, that was one of those things where it was kind of like I knew what I had done. And that's where that story came from, because I knew a ton of people doubted me, and I knew that they still would, and they still will, going on through life. And that's really how that song came about. It was just one that happened to be the first one that I put out, and away we went.
Tom, can you relate to that song in your own right? Because, Joliet I wouldn't call small town. It's a big city, but it's on the outskirts of the big city, and, it's blue collar. It's how many folks are going from Joliet to Notre Dame for education, let alone football? And football was a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon, and it was winning. Do you relate at all to that?
Yeah,
How You Like Us Now?
It relates to me because there were so many people that discouraged me from going to Notre Dame because they thought the academic requirements were too much for me. And so they were saying, oh, you got to go to this school, or you have to go here. I don't know if you'll be able to compete with the competition that they recruit and then do academically what's required of you. And I think you kind of had to stop listening to everybody and just trust yourself. And it played the most important decision I ever made in my life was to go to Notre Dame. And it paid a lot of dividends for me in my life. And heck, one of my teammates, who's a musician, Zach, married my sister. So I think if we trust ourselves, that's when we get the most out of we create the most out of our opportunities.
That's awesome. I agree, man. You go into, nobody really knows what you're made of until you get in that situation. I'll tell you, the people that refuse to give up and refuse to quit, regardless of the outside noise or regardless of the challenges that you meet along the way. Like, we've all had challenges in our life. And I think to be sitting where you're at is because the refusal to quit and the willingness to work through that and how can I get better, instead of like, oh, this is hard. This is not comfortable for me. I don't like feeling this way. I'm just going to not do it. And the flip side of that is, this is hard. This is challenging. I want to see if I can get better at this and how much better I can get until I'm satisfied with myself. And probably us three sitting here are never satisfied. So keep on grinding.
No, never satisfied. I get more questions about, and Tom keeps me very grounded because, if I ever tell him, hey, that was a good bride, we had a good bride, he goes, nah, I don't want to hear it. He goes, got to be better next time. And I agree. We have an insatiable desire to be great, and no, we're never going to quite get there. Honestly, that's how I think. I think Tom feels the same. He didn't like hearing compliments. That's for sure. Maybe he's an offensive lineman in him. I don't know.
Hey, I completely get that, and I think it's just an important thing to never be comfortable with that, and be never be satisfied with what you're doing. Always striving to get a little bit better each day.
This has been a great conversation. I know we got to wrap up, but I hesitate to bring this up, but it's your life. So October 29th, 2017, 3rd down and 10, corner route touchdown that they overturned, and you get hurt on the play in the Superdome, and life's coming at you faster than ever before, and there's danger involved, and artery gets cut, and a decision by an assistant trainer that no one's ever heard of. Probably would never know who Sid Dreier is, made the decision, hey, we got to get you to urgent level 1 trauma center 5 minutes from the stadium. Saved your leg. Heck, I don't know. Maybe it saved your life. How often do you reflect on that? And have you written about that in ways that are cryptic in your songs, or what's your thought?
Yeah. I don't reflect on it often anymore. It's kind of one of those things where I recognize it happened. I have to deal with the aftermath of it, but I don't reflect on it often much. I do write about it, not specifically, but there's definitely some abstract things that have came about from it. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm good with it. I understand. I tell everybody, they ask about it and they say, would you go back? I would go back and do the exact same thing over and over again to know that I had that career. They're like, would you, if you knew it was going to happen, would you still play? And the answer is 100% yes. I would go out there every day of the week to still have football in my life and have the same outcome. It's just one of those things that game meant so much to me, and the things that came from football are part of who I am. I'm good now. I know that I'm going to have these lingering effects for the rest of my life. And that's just part of it.
And what are they?
I got permanent nerve damage, which is my leg's numb from the knee down. That drives me nuts on a daily basis, where, like you sleep on your funny bone and your fingers go numb. Like, my leg is like that all the time. And then the drop foot's probably the next thing, that just not being able to lift my foot up as much as I'd like to. Those are the two things that bug me the most. The pain, everybody hurts. Everybody that played that game, we all hurt. I can handle that. There's a knee replacement probably on the way pretty soon. I met with the doctor actually a month ago to talk about that, and we're trying to delay it as long as possible. So, those are the things where I'm at right now. Mentally, I'm fine. People talk about it. They ask me about it. They show me pictures, and I'm past all of that stuff. Just because I know the outcome could be way worse. There was a point where they were talking about amputating my leg they gave me a 7-minute window. And
7 minutes.
Why they come up with that number, but they said, if we don't get this done, that's what's got to happen. And the next thing I know, I wake up and everything else is a blur. And there were so many people that were in my corner throughout that time. And we got to a place where I'm good now. I'm happy in life. And you're just dealing with kind of the stuff that came with it. But that's life. That's how it goes.
Zach, I got one last question for you. So in your video, All Gas, No Brakes, yeah. I noticed that your beard was a lot longer than it is as we get to see you here. I know this is only audio. Do they like you to change your look? Like, if you're introducing a new video, would they like you to grow your hair longer, trim your beard, or, does that help your style, or do they want consistency in your look?
Well, I'll tell you, there is no they. It's just me.
Okay. All right. Well, then how do you feel about that?
That's the beauty of being an independent artist. I don't have anybody to answer to except my wife. She's the one, and she likes the beard a little bit low cut. Me, on the other hand, if I could get that thing, get a little burly,
LeBronish, Lovey Smithish.
Yeah, it was burly in that video. I mean, it's inches long, not close cropped like it is now.
Yes, and I'll tell you what. Every time I grow my beard out, I love it. And then there'll be a point where Christian's like, hey, that's a little too long. And as soon as I cut it off, I'm like, oh, I kind of like this look. And it lasts for maybe 3 days. Man, I wish I had my beard back. It's one of those things where you want what you can't have. And as soon as I zip it off, I want it back. But as far as changing the style and stuff, I don't know. Like, that's a thing that I'm still kind of experimenting with. And even music itself, like changing the sound and trying to figure out what you truly love making, and the style with being on stage and the music that you're singing, they kind of correlate. So I've been in this experimental phase for the last 2 to 3 years, and just trying to figure out, who I really am as an artist. Like, that takes time. I know that I didn't get into this thing as a young man, right? Like, this is second career. I was old in the league. I'm older in music, you know? And it's just one of those things where I'm in that experimental phase of trying to figure it all out. So the style's going to change for me. You might see me with a beard one day, a month later, low cut, long hair. I don't know, man.
Good.
So opening acts for people like Brantley Gilbert, Chase Rice, Randy Houser, John Langston, Eli Young Band, Joe's on Wheat Street in Chicago, Old Crow in Wrigleyville. Other songs, I Was Hoping, For You, Torn Up, Die Loving You.
Die Loving You just came out.
That's romance right there, right?
Gotta be.
What's the Torn Up about?
Oh, man.
Too personal?
Huh?
Too personal?
No, it's not personal, but that's one of those songs that is there's a little bit of my life in there, and there's a little bit of someone else's that I just wrote about their story in the time that they were going through. That was where the inspiration came from.
I got it.
And I don't want to get into the details.
No need.
That's kind of one of those where I borrowed inspiration through a friend of mine that was going through some stuff.
Well, let's hope you find inspiration to write a Bears theme song for 2024 after they hoist the Super Bowl trophy. How about it?
I'd love that.
Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Tom Thayer hung out. Well, he had dinner with Frank Sinatra. He hung out with the Beach Boys, I believe. You got a country music fan, a friend rather.
Steve Azar.
Steve Azar.
Yep.
Who else have you? Oh, and of course you know Eddie Vedder, surfing buddy. So yeah, Tom's been linked to the music world in very interesting ways. And now you got another one.
I'm a good listener. That's it.
You'll be in that new music video soon, you and Jeff.
Zach,
give us a couple months notice so we can just look good in a white T-shirt,
right?
As you did.
It's going to require some push-ups.
I don't know. We might have to come out to Hawaii and do that.
There you go.
Oh,
even better.
On a surfboard. That'll change your life.
We could do that.
Where can people get your music, Zach?
It's out everywhere. Streaming on all digital platforms. It's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. Man, the list goes on and on. Tidal, Pandora. There's a whole load of them out there. So.
And catch your act on YouTube also at Zach Miller Music.
Yeah, YouTube.
That's where you'll see the videos. And have you taken? I know we got to go, but have you taken any acting lessons?
No, I have not.
Okay, you're a natural.
Maybe that's the next step, man. If you know anybody in the film industry that's looking for a burly bearded extra
who's still fit,
a movie or something like that,
and who's still fit, at a svelte 245.
245, and I can lean up if they want. It's just I'm embracing the dad bod every now and then. I run around with the kids and do all that, but if need be, I could hit the screen and get jacked up if they need it.
We got your number.
All right,
we got your number. You going to London? Bears
Yes.
play? You'll be
I'm
there?
in
Nice.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you out there. Hopefully at Soldier Field as well in the coming months as the Bears get ready for what could be a pivotal and a really important 2024 season. Zach, thanks for all the time. I know we took more than we asked, but that tends to be the case when you talk with friends, so
Love it.
appreciate it. We're brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears. For Zach Miller and Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Bear down, everybody.